I'm Eric at Prague Valley Tropical Fruit Farm, and this is Florida Natural Farming. Today I'm gonna try to get up to the sugar apples because sugar apple season is fastly approaching. But I'm gonna go over rare aroids, Monstera deliciosa, because we grow 3 types of that. Mint, you know, the variegated ones. So one is Mint, one is Albo, and one is Thai Constellation, and just the regular old non-variegated form of Monstera deliciosa. And I'm going to look at some other new aroids I've recently purchased and talk about planting them. So here's a Thai Constellation. I had to move this indoors. So this is the one with the little white speckles all over it. I had to move it indoors because the rabbits ate all the leaves off of it. For some reason, rabbits will eat all the Monstera deliciosa leaves if they're small. Once they get big, they can't reach them, but they will destroy a plant. And I had that plant outside and it quickly got destroyed. You can also look at some other plants. I have this Garcinia macrophyllata in here that grows in the heliconia, and it's doing really well. It's surprising that it grows in here so nicely and never seems to get affected by anything. Drought, cold, nothing. It's likes growing in with the heliconia. It's probably because the heliconias have such a short root system, you know, it doesn't go that deep in the ground, whereas the macrophylla, Garcinia macrophylla goes deep, so they work well together. It keeps water at the shallow roots. So here's our Monstera deliciosa. I believe this is Variegated though. I believe the Thai Constellation is Variegated, which is the smaller leaf form of deliciosa, but this is the Albo, and it's got nice coloration. The rabbits ate all the leaves off this also. It's attached to this tree. It doesn't seem to get affected by the drought anymore. So hopefully it'll be growing up the tree more quickly now that it's somewhat of a rainy season. We got rain 2 days ago, so that was nice. We grow all kinds of different other plants. I have lots of different plumerias. So this plumeria would be huge, but they get knocked over from hurricanes easy, so I try to keep it low. The aroids have been doing good. If anybody who watched my channel, you know that I've was obsessed with them for a while. I still am, just that I've tried to get them all to grow outside on trees. And we've had some success and a lot of failures, but overall they seem to do well. This is a Jose Bueno that's trying to attach to this tree. It seems to do good. This was a top cutting I did. I need to trim this branch down so it gets some morning sunlight. It's over here growing next to our DPI Gold star apple. Very slow to grow star apple. Not sure why that is. Maybe the phosphorus, or I don't know. It's just been slow to grow, but it'll get there. So I've done little cuttings and put them here and there. They're trying to do well. This one's kind of struggling through the drought, but it's doing okay. This is a Scindapsus plant that's attached to the tree, and it's looking good. It's you know, the shingling plants, they look kind of cool, growing with these orchids and stuff. It wasn't a pot, but it's pretty much just attached to the tree now. There's a Monstera subpinnata here that's growing up the tree finally. It's taken a while for this stuff to really catch on. I have a Florida Beauty over here, probably because we grow naturally, so I only give them water if I feel like they're gonna die, because I had my Monstera lechleriana die, my variegated plant die, which kind of surprised me because it was attached to the tree, but I think it got too hot and it was in a lot of sun and it just fried it. Here's a Monstera Florida Beauty that is, or not Monstera, Philodendron Florida Beauty. It's looking good. It's no problem. It's a very easy plant to grow here outside naturally. Got some other little philodendrons that have been kind of slow that I've tried to move around. Here's a philodendron Variegated that's hanging in there, but not really growing that fast. I would have thought they would have grown a lot quicker than they have been. Then there's other stuff that does really well. It just takes a while sometimes to get them to adapt to growing like this. This is a philodendron. I can't think of the name of it, but probably the tag's in the pot, but it's a nice one. It looks good. It's attached to the tree. And then I have some other ones. I have this Splendid, Philodendron Splendid hybrid. It's was a lot bigger, but got knocked back from the drought. The drought has affected some plants, but then other plants like this Philodendron domesticum, which is very expensive variegated plant, thrives. And you can see it's attached to the tree. I just think its location has a lot to do with it. Here's my Philodendron Jose Bueno mother plant that I did a bunch of cuttings to. I'm not sure if they took or not. Here's some more cuttings, philodendrons. They'll look good. These leaves get huge on these things. This one looks really nice. Here's another one over here that looks good. Cuttings growing here next to my durian. I'm planting them with these trees in the hopes that they deter rabbits from chewing on the trees. So I'm getting ready to up pot some. Here's a Monstera deliciosa green form, large leaf. I'm getting ready to up pot some little plants. This is a Monstera supposedly deliciosa. I have a feeling it's mint. It's got nice color, so this is the one with the little white speckles all over it, like this, like snowflakes almost. This was a tissue culture plant. I got it from, or maybe it's a seedling from Equigenera. But look at the fungi that grows in our compost. We start everything in compost from our little compost piles I make that I drop every day. I wait about a year, sometimes quicker when it's raining, and then scrape them up, and I put the stuff in here. And then I always talk about soil aggregation. Well, this is what I'm talking about. This is older compost that's completely aggregated after a while. It's mineralized carbon. That's what you want to see your compost do. This. It's just dirt that is in a stable form, so it's nice stuff. I learned to plant and start seeds in compost, and this is my little variegated Philodendron billietiae tissue culture, and I want to transplant it into here. So I'm going to do that and show you how I do it. I just want it to have its own pot. I put it in here just to get it going. The roots went down deep already. It's got a nice root system, so I rinse them in rainwater. And then I just put them in the compost. I'm going to put some of the original soil in here because it's compost also. It's what it's been used to. And the newer compost has a lot of active organic matter, which provides a lot of nutrients, whereas this pretty much is stable. So when water moves through it, it provides nutrients. When it dries, it aggregates. And plants seem to grow a little bit faster when they have a certain percentage of the unstable organic matter in their pot. So topping this off with some of this unstable organic matter, meaning not finished compost, like this, would be good. You see all the roots in there. I like the roots growing through my plant. They release bioactive compounds into the soil that are plant beneficial, and or have all those nutrients and that are in the root zone and biology. So it instantly creates a healthy synergistic effect to the whatever you plant in there. And then I got some other new aroids. This is a variegated, I've had this for a while. This is a variegated Annona that's trying to turn green on me. It came from Equigenera. I don't know what the deal is with that. It almost looks like a mint. It's got some bug issues, I see. It's been indoors, not the healthiest spot for a plant. This is a new variegated lechleriana I got, Monstera lechleriana. It gets huge leaves. I had one from Equigenera. It was a super prolific grower. I was surprised that it actually died. This is a Philodendron alternans, which is kind of an expensive strap leaf. It looks like a anthurium almost, one of the belt type anthuriums. But I throw the soil away and then I rinse the roots off. I rinsed them off in here first, and then I moved them over into clean rainwater and rinsed them off more. That's what this is. I'm definitely watering this little billietiae here. So many people grow them in peat or soilless or semi ponds, so semi hydroponic, and they use chemicals, and it's just like, even if it's a water soluble chemical, it's just we want ours to grow outside. And I think that's a lot of the problems we have with these plants, is they've been grown so long in nurseries under conventional systems, not organically, not in soil. So most of them come in, peat or coco coir. Both of those products I just despise, and nothing against anybody that uses them. But when I plant stuff in the ground, when I used to not plant bare root, the plant would die, always die, whether it was in coco coir or peat. And that's why I started removing the soil when I plant them. So I plant them bare root, and that's the only thing that made them live. And then I just don't like it. It doesn't enable the plant to recognize microbiology in soil. And that's what we want. That's what we need, and because we dry farm everything. So this is a Monstera obliqua Amazon. So it's like almost the shiny leafed Monstera. It's going to get big holes in it, and it's got strap leaves, but it's the obliqua. It's a very nice plant. There's obliqua Peru. There's 10 or so different versions of obliqua, but this is kind of an expensive one I think I saw it was $120 on Equigenera's site, but I got it from Ken's Philodendrons. I seem to like their plants. They're very reasonable. This was still kind of an expensive alternans. Equigenera never has it. But it was still relatively expensive on Ken's Philodendrons. And then I got this Zippolanum, this Midrium Zippolanum. It's a nice plant. It was very cheap. It's one of the large ones. It's has palm leaf like foliage, supposed to be a fast grower. I like Midriums. They look good. That's Zippolanum. So, but this tiny little variegated Philodendron billietiae I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but this is a $250 plant. Crazy. I spent a fortune on rare aroids, a fortune. small fortune. You know, I could have bought like a Toyota pickup or something, or a Toyota car with the amount of money I've spent on these rare aroids. But they're doing good, and they're trying to multiply. This is Linamii. It's doing good. It doesn't look that good because it hasn't really put out a lot of new growth, but I do see a new leaf coming out here. It's the kind with the red leaf on it, so it's coming up. I couldn't remember the name of this fruit tree that I said survived the winter, and my friend Joe, Okeechobee Joe, he's from Vero Beach, lives right near here. He said, was that the Lanzone? Yeah, the Langsat, that's what it was. Thank you, Joe. So this is a philodendron in the ground, Columbia. It looks good. It's got a new leaf on it. Very stunning. When they all fill in, and this is like a completely covered with aroids, it will be cool. This is the gloriosum. This is this is the mother plant of the gloriosum. Beautiful, looks like Anthurium regale almost. Nice. They do well here in the ground, and there's one over here. And then I also have anthuriums. This is billietiae, got trashed from the wind, but that's a new leaf. It looks good. And here's some other anthuriums. Capula spathum, I believe, is what this one is. And then I got regale and the Variegated. I had some fungal issues get my trees on my aroids on the tree over there, but they're doing okay. And then I have, you know, the crawlers. Here's the Anthurium regale. This is another one. Can't think of the name of it. What was it? I got a tab. This is Capula spathum. This must be something else. Yeah, that definitely is Capula spathum. Gets huge, giant, like 8-foot leaves on it. So it's trying to do its thing. The anthuriums seem to do okay in ground, in full shade here, zone 10A in Florida. But over here I have a great big patch of Monstera deliciosa that produces a lot of fruit, and that's why I decided to start growing aroids, because they seem to do okay without any water or any help. So it's got some fruit on it, it's got some flowers on it, but it's a fairly big patch. I keep waiting for it to move over to this tree. I didn't even think to pick any of the fruit off that this year. I don't know why. It's a good fruit, but I like it more for its leaves. If I was more into it being a fruit farm, I would be on top of all that stuff, but I'm a bad fruit farm person. This is just basically our personal food forest. It's turning less and less of a farm and more into just our personal breadbasket of nonstop fruit production. Been eating lots of mangoes. There's a big achachiro tree there. Here's a big achachiro tree. That's why we started this farm. I say that every time, but that's true. So we start our tropical fruit, the trees that we start in pots, seeds. If I only have a couple of expensive seeds, I'll start them in pots. Probably it's not the best way, but they seem to respond well to being grown in pots. So here's a Monstera obliqua Peru cutting that I did. This is attached to the tree. It survived the drought just fine. I was shocked. I was very happy to see that, because that's a very nice looking rare aroid, and it's survived just fine. Probably if my lechleriana wasn't put in full sun, it would have survived the drought, but I wanted it to have variegation, and to get variegation on these things, you have to expose them to a certain amount of sunlight. So I should have watched it better and kept it in watered it a little bit. That's what I should have done until it survived a year, and then it probably would have been okay. But I didn't. I'm learning. I'm still learning. I want to see how far I can push these things. Usually after you get a plant that does well and attaches to the tree, the subsequent cuttings you do all seem to do well. This is Anthurium nigrolaminum. Here's a Philodendron, or no, Monstera esqueleto. I thought that died, but it popped back up when it started raining. So I'm glad it did not die. So I gotta plant these. This is where I dig the compost out. This is a pile here next to my cacao tree that produced a lot of fruit this year. Now I'm gonna try to make my way over to the sugar apples and segue into tropical fruit. I haven't done an aroid video in a while. A chachiro. Looks real good here. Lush, of course. Some people don't understand why we don't mow stuff, but if we mowed and tried to dry farm, it just wouldn't be successful because the soil would get compacted. It would leach all the nutrients out. It would cause runoff. The trees would be stunted. They would just die from exposure and lack of cover on the soil. So we try to keep our system covered, and found that none of these plants compete with our trees. Even little tiny seedlings I plant this big out in the orchard floor thrive. In fact, I direct sow achachiro, which is what that is, directly in the ground in tall grass like that. I plant little tiny citrus this big in the tall grass. Yes, they can smother it, but generally they grow right through it. They're less likely to get found out by a rabbit in something like this than, here's a Luke's Garcinia, than if they were left out in the open. Like these little Garcinias here, these have a high chance of getting eaten by rabbits. Whereas if you have them out in the open, they won't be. Garcinias are trying to ripen up. I saw some lemon drop mangosteens. The Braziliensis is trying to ripen up. The Gardneria's got some big fruit on it. Good sized fruit, finally. And it's trying to ripen up. Had some little tiny fruit beginning of the year, but I do see a lot of good sized fruit on it. It's the largest of the lemon drop mangosteens, the Garcinia gardneriana. Here's a Garcinia hombromiana, the seashore mangosteen. Garcinia celebica is another name. Why there's so many names for the Garcinias is beyond my comprehension, but that's how it is. And then some people call Gardneriana the Latin name for achachiro, which I call Garcinia humilis. So there's just so much freaking confusion with the Garcinias. It's crazy. Mulberry is all picked over. I'm gonna go up to the sugar apples here. Stuff is looking really nice. I need to start dividing the bananas again because I want to put bananas around all of our mangoes. I'm not going to put any in the back. I was going to do that, but we're turning the back 5-acre fruit farm portion of our farm. This is the front 5 acres into cow and donkey pasture because we just have so many miniature zebus. Not a lot of response to the miniature zebus, which I find a little bizarre because they're such amazing creatures. That's an orange sherbet mango. They've been really good. Buttercream has been exceptional this year. Malika, I think, has been easily in my top 2 mangoes this year. Definitely. I always feel like I need to plant more stuff. I always feel like I don't have enough stuff. I need to plant more and more and more. So I've been trying to put cuttings of the hog plum and plant some. I need to plant some more cashews in here. Put some other stuff in there. Citrus is coming along nicely. Amico lemons. It's our own lemon. 0 greening, 0 disease issues. Produces a lot of fruit without any water. There's that big achachiro growing in full sun. So that should be getting close to fruiting size, I would think. If not, this coming spring, the following one, it will definitely be producing. We're right on the cusp of all these fruit trees to just start producing a lot of fruit. Even though we do get quite a bit of fruit, this farm is very young. I planted the whole thing by myself. Nothing that was here nothing that you see was here except for like this big pine tree. It was all lawn, and I let these weeds grow, so those came in by themselves. So along the 12th Street, because we're on 12th Street in Vero Beach, pretty much right downtown. So I have little cashews, I have little sugar apples, I have little aroids. I saw little aroids. Let me look at those before we go in there. I have to go through that jungly mess. I'm going to start down here though, but I did see some of the little aroids popping up. Here's one. And there was another one over here. I know there's one in here, but I can't see it right now. Here's one. I love aroid. It's one of my favorite fruits. We grow, I thought we had 4 types, but I think my red aroid got perished, got killed dead. So cashews seem to do okay. Lots of stuff in here. When I say I have to divide my bananas, I pull off the pups. But I found with the ice cream bananas, if you leave the pups on the tree, the racks are huge. Whereas if you take the pups off, the racks will be small. So we dry farm them. That's just, stuff is different than what other people notice. So that's why I do these videos, to try to show people what is actually possible. So this is a aroid. It's got some fruit on it. It's got some flowers on it. I think this is Gefner. I see little tiny fruits on it. It's a fairly good sized tree. I like having these woody plants growing around it, because the possum and stuff is less likely to see the fruit. Even though it's hard to see the tree, a lot of people like to see their specimens and think that if you have something like this, that it's just not a healthy system. We're a natural farm system, food forest system, and all this stuff works together. It doesn't compete. So there's still a lot of flowers going on. I don't see a lot of fruit set on this, but aroid seems to be a little bit later than the sugar apples, and we got a lot of sugar apples. So there's like, I don't know, 35 sugar apples along the road here. I have a ginger and sugar apple all the way down 12th Street along the whole front of our property. They're all chewy green sugar apples. We also grow chewy red, compound mauve, and chewy, Thai Constellation, non-chewy sugar apples. I have a lot less of those non-chewy ones. I don't really like the non-chewy sugar apples. I like the chewy ones, whether it be red or green. I can't tell the difference in flavor. I know a lot of people say that the red tastes like berry. I can't tell a difference between the red and the green. I can tell a difference in flavor between the chewy and the non-chewy. So everyone has their own distinct receptors And that's just what I do. I'm not saying that you can't taste it. I gotta watch out for bees because I got attacked by hornets. I got stung like, I don't know, 5 to 10 times on my face and on my hand while I was trudging through this stuff, cutting a trail. This is a llama. I'm not sure what it is, but it did have dark red flowers, so I'm assuming it's a red variety. It doesn't have any flowers on it, but boy, does it look healthy. My friend Frank wanted to know, you have llamas? I'm like, yeah, I've done plenty of videos on llamas. But it's over here, so I don't show it. Sugar apples. So I got stung by these bees, but I don't get swelling. I get pain for a second, and it's gone. I don't get any swelling. I don't get any lingering pain. It's just my I guess my immune response is like totally optimized. This is that llama that I got from my friends in Orlando. It looks like it's trying to suffer a little bit, but it looks okay. Probably could use some zebra manure. I plant my fruit trees bare root. They seem to respond well. Llamas I found can be a little tricky. Annonas can be a little tricky adapting to a new spot. I thought that one would just instantly thrive being planted near that other one, but it doesn't look like that's the case. So there's a lot of sugar apples here. Probably if I thinned this fruit, we would have had huge sugar apples. I see some anthracnose on it. We just have anthracnose on our fruit. That's just, I've noticed that's what you get when you don't spray copper and sulfur and other things on them. Sure, it could be a nutrient issue, but I firmly believe that if you try to stack nutrients because of a tissue test you do on a tree, that you probably disrupt the overall health of the system and could put another nutrient out of balance, because nutrients in leaves changes, so they could have a lot of nutrients in their leaves, and then they could send it down to the root system, so it could come up low in copper or low in something else. And if you're applying copper or any other nutrient, the chances of introducing a pollutant to your system grow greatly. So we don't do it. We just try to make compost piles every single day, small ones, and it seems to work. And mostly our fruit is good and clean. I'd rather see a farm that has some spots on the fruit when it comes to mangoes especially, because if they don't, I instantly assume that they are using systemic fungicides or spraying copper, and definitely don't want to consume excess copper. I don't anyway. Here's another Atoya. This is a Lisa Atoya. I thought that Lisa wasn't that good of a producer, but this tree does very well here. It's got some fruit on it. It's getting fairly big, this tree. We have Priestley, Lisa, Geffner, and we did have red, but I imagine I'll get another red one again when my friend Frank fruits his Atoya. But this sugar apples are looking good. They're coming along nicely. A lot of people want sugar apples. We do sell sugar apples. I was selling the seeds for 50 cents, but I have to raise my prices on my seeds because people don't buy them if they're too cheap. It's weird. I never had one person want, well, I did have some people want sugar apple seeds, but maybe everyone has enough sugar apple seeds, so I'm just not even going to sell them for less than $1. That's just how I'm going to do it. And I don't give guarantees on our seeds. But the sugar apples are looking great. So here's a little mulberry here. I think this is a seedling from my friend Frank, because he breeds mulberries, and he gave me a flat of mulberries. So that's a little mulberry that he gave me, obviously. But boy, there sure is a lot of sugar apples on these trees this year. I think this is the best they've ever done production-wise. I do see some anthracnose. It's weird. Some fruit on this tree will get anthracnose. That's that black stuff. And then other fruit on the same tree right near it won't have it. So you tell me. I found that anthracnose increases the flavor of fruit. Sure, it's not attractive, but it doesn't affect the fruit. It just might cause them to mature a little early. But I know that seems to be a weird statement to say that it increases the flavor, but I firmly believe that. I've eaten enough anthracnose fruit and not a lot enough anthracnose fruit to see that the fruit does have a different flavor component to it, and I like it. So I'd rather they didn't have anthracnose, yeah, but I have to look at the good and not focus on the bad. But that's going good. Lots of sugar apples. Some of them are getting big. Let's say another 2 weeks we'll have sugar apples. August we're gonna have sugar apples. Seems a little later than usual, probably because it was a prolonged drought earlier. And it hasn't really been raining that much this summer. We've been getting enough rain. So this is a chewy red sugar apple, but I see a green fruit on this freaking thing. I know this produced a red fruit last year, so I'm not sure what's up with that. Whether it's on a different, it looks like it comes out of the ground. Maybe it was two trees planted in the same hole, but I see just green fruit on it. And I know last year this had red fruit on it, so it's kind of strange. But it's not producing on this particular, it's only producing on that side. So this side doesn't even have any flowers on it. I don't know. Overall, I found that the red sugar apples just don't produce as well as the green. And I haven't noticed a taste difference to make me want to grow red sugar apples, other than the fact that most people would rather have a red one than a green one. Me included. Longans. They're finally getting big, so eventually we're going to have some longans here. I see a lot of little seedling trees I planted are coming up. The mangoes through here, that was a Florigon tree. Florigon was, I had to put it up in a top tier mango group. I used to always say I didn't think it was top tier, but this year the mangoes have kind of, just when I think I know, New Year comes along and tells me I don't know squat. So here's a custard apple tree. I got a couple of custard apple trees. Looks like it's finally getting some flowers on it that are fruiting size. So hopefully we'll get some custard apples this year. This tree is kind of getting a little bit bigger. Custard apple trees retain their leaves until the drought comes along. So they don't lose their leaves because of the cold, but they do lose their leaves when there's a drought. It's an Inga cinnamoniae tree. I don't even bother. There's a big atoya. I think that's a priestly atoya. Let me see if there's some fruit on it. Here's one of my cuttings of the hog plum. It looks great. Boy, it didn't even lose its leaves. It's a big cutting. Like I said, I'm trying to fill in everywhere. This tree finally looks good. It's taken a while to pull its stalks up, but I don't see any flowers on it. But that's okay. I'd rather get a little bit bigger. And atomoyas can be a little late sometimes. I got a sweet giant ubajae right here. Eugenia, I don't know the name of it, but the giant ubajae. Sweet one. It's from my friend Frank. He tries to give me Eugenias. He grows a lot more variety than I do, but I kind of curate what I like. So here's the Kezar mango, which has been good, but the Malika was definitely better this year. And the Kezar had some anthracnose issues this year. Never has in the past. Yeah, we don't spray our trees because we want them to overcome the disease naturally to be able to combat future diseases. You need to have the good with the bad. So some people would say, you need to spray those trees to get that off there. But no, that goes against what I believe. And I think that doing something like that does more harm than good. It's akin to giving a person rheumatoid arthritis medication when they have a gut dysbiosis problem. And it just causes a cascade of negative effects on our own immune health. That's the same with the trees. So probably this is some sort of nutrient deficiency, but I think it has more to do with the drought stress this year. And it did have lots of fruit on it, and I think that had something to do with it. The fruit was all good. I ate it. It produced a lot of fruit. This tree was covered in powdery mildew when it was flowering. It still produced lots of fruit. So why take the chance of creating poisonous fruit? Sure, it'll look good, and you could sell it probably easier because people like clean fruit. But I've eaten some of that fruit from the nurseries, and nursery grown tropical fruit, mangoes, and they made me sick. They made me get kidney pain, and that's what you're going to get when you're consuming systemic fungicides and all kinds of other pollutants that they use to grow fruit trees in a nursery to get them to look good and pretty and to grow fast. So I just won't buy a nursery grown fruit anymore. I appreciate them selling it, and I was able to taste it, but if you can't eat it, and you feel like you need to go to the hospital after you eat 10 mangoes, then I have enough sense to stop eating it. Jackfruit, stuff's looking good. This ginger got damaged from the drought, so did that one, which is kind of odd. It's like, and this one over here. It was random. This one didn't, that one didn't, this one didn't, that one didn't, but just random stuff got affected. Not everything grows exactly the same. What grows nicely for us may not grow nicely for you. That last mango was a Malika. I should mention that because I mentioned before that my Malika probably could have been our best mango this year. And I don't think I ever would have put this tree. I thought it was a Philodendron. I forgot what it was. It has some fungal issues going on. All of our trees do. They come that way from the nursery. It's not anything they don't overcome eventually. It just takes time. Everyone knows all the mangoes that grow in Florida without any water or without any sprays that produce lots of fruit. So if you are like protecting your tree and giving it antifungals and other things, chances are its immune system is compromised because it's got damaged mitochondria. So this is the Malika. I did try to pick all the fruit off it because the creatures get it, but there's still a couple I need to get these. You can pick Malika green. I try to pick all our mangoes green because otherwise the possum people will get everything. But Malika is the star this year. Definitely my top 3 mangoes this year. I would definitely plant a Malika. Anyway, I'm Eric at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. This is our food forest in Vero Beach, Florida. I hope you have an excellent day. This is natural farming. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a nice comment. I like reading nice comments. Thanks for watching.